Welcome back, everybody. We have come together to talk about the complete stupidity and irrationality present in the state of Maryland. Not only here, but across our country. So today, while perusing Twitter, I come across this. Let me jump back real quick. Here is Katie Curran O'Malley, who is a Democrat running for the position of Attorney General in the state of Maryland. Now, she's a Democrat running for the office of Attorney General, a fairly powerful office in our public sphere today. And she wants your vote because she, just like every other candidate, is going to solve the problems facing our civilization. How is she going to do this? Well, let's go look at her issues. So we see immediately here on her issues page, there are only 3 issues facing our state: reducing gun violence, police accountability, and legalizing marijuana. This has become a very key thing in our state. Our state legislature is moving on this. They want to pass this so that they can have a high and very compliant group of citizens in order to rule and reign over them. Now, I believe personally that marijuana does have medicinal purposes. However, just sitting around smoking your joint isn't going to give you those things. Oh no. It requires the extraction of THC from the plant and then distilling it into oil and other more beneficial forms before it can actually be useful. All smoking it does is dulls your senses, which eases pain, which is what it's being proposed as. And of course, now the state, which for decades now has been criminalizing the use of marijuana, wants to step in. Because guess what? The sale of marijuana on the street, it was a profitable business. Ask any drug dealer on the street. They were making money hand over fist. And the state finally realized that and was like, we need to get involved here. We can reap some of those benefits ourselves via taxes on marijuana. This has nothing to do with the well-being of the citizens. It's all about money because they see it as an income or a revenue source, period. That's it. So typical Democrat, she's going to help legalize marijuana in order to do whatever. But the one I really want to look at is this police accountability, because in these 3 issues, because these are her big issues, there's nothing about dealing with the people. Because guess what? Gun violence is caused by a person, not a gun. A person's heart leads to murder, not a gun. You can kill someone with a knife, with a hammer, with an axe, with a chainsaw. But we're going to reduce gun violence. And we're going to hold the police accountable. So what does she say here? So let's see. We have borne witness to a series of heartbreaking tragedies. And then she goes on to name these people, most of whom were rank criminals, street-level criminals, who were breaking the law when they began an interaction with the police. But oh no, now they're heroes to the left. And the communists love to take criminals and elevate them up because the rest of us are lowered when that happens. And that's all she's doing here, this Katie O'Malley. So these unnecessary deaths. Well, George Floyd resisted arrest. He was passing counterfeit money. He was in possession of drugs. He actually died of a drug overdose, not because of the actions of the police. The rest of them, I'm not even going to bother to delve into. Go look them up for yourself. The liberal media and press love to hold them up as heroes or heroines. They are not. They're criminals. So what's she going to do? Well, she's going to ensure that local jurisdictions fully abide by Anton's Law, an important piece of 2021 legislation that requires criminal investigations and misconduct records of police officers to be publicly available information. So they're going to take the police and put them in the spotlight, but they're going to hide the fact that criminals are involved in a lifelong pursuit of evil, because you can't bring that into a court case. But hey, for the cops, you can definitely do that. Now, I'm not against that. Frankly, a cop who breaks the law needs to be held accountable. But so do criminals. So if you're going to expose the entire background history of some police officer, then you better be exposing the background history of the criminal as well. But that's not how this works. This is called obfuscation. And that's all it is. And this woman is going to hold the police accountable, but not the criminals. And that's going to solve this problem of criminality in the world today. What else? So she's also going to develop a legal curriculum to train local police accountability boards and charging committees, ensuring equitable treatment of citizen complaints. What more can the police do? I was a cop. I'm a retired cop. I handled internal investigations. I worked against a plethora of false beliefs, false assumptions, false ideas of reality. But it's the cops who are at fault because they aren't doing the proper job. Now, make no mistake about it. There is this element in police work where they do try to protect each other. Make note. But guess what, folks? The same thing's true in the criminal world. Snitches get stitches. This is a two-way street. But hey, Ms. O'Malley is only going to hold the police accountable, not the criminal. And that's going to solve our problem. She's going to work with local jurisdictions to uniformly train internal victims' rights advocates to work with complaints affected by police misconduct. What about the complaints that are affected by the lies of the citizenry? Oh, and believe you me, there are plenty of those. Go on YouTube. You'll see them left and right. No one's held accountable but the police. Let's see, what else do we have here? We're going to offer advanced Fourth Amendment training as a resource for state and local police agencies, command staff, and veteran officers. What's the Fourth Amendment? Well, I'm happy you asked. Let's go look up the Fourth Amendment, just so you can see what it actually says. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Well, folks, when I worked as a cop, those standards were still held to. You had to be very specific in your search warrants before a judge would sign off on it. I submitted hundreds of search warrants. Hundreds. And each one was questioned by the judge. It wasn't just this blank process of you walk in and they just stamp it and you go out and do your thing. That's not how it works internally. But yet they want you to think that that's how it works. They're going to assist local jurisdictions in implementing police early warning systems to detect patterns of problematic police behavior and correct the behavior through retraining. Maybe we should do that for the citizens. How about the street level thugs in Baltimore who are committing crimes again and again and again, but yet Democrats like this Ms. O'Malley are letting out of jail again and again and again? Maybe instead of focusing on the police, we should focus on the citizenry who are committing the actual crimes. Now, the police are held to a standard. I managed a gang database, and I had to meet certain federal level criteria before a person could even be put into that database. I had to document it all. And then at the end of, I think it was 5 years, if that person had not reoffended or committed any other crimes, they had to be removed. And I had to prove that fact. But not so with the criminals. Oh no. Oh no, they can just run free. Then we're going to ensure advanced legal and ethics education in service for all police supervisors. I'm not going to say that's not necessary, but what kind of ethics are we talking about here? Situational ethics? What kind of legal advice are we going to give them? Democrat or Republican? Constitutional or societal? These are questions that need to be answered. Let's see, what else do we have here? We're going to seek resources. In other words, they're going to put money into, public taxpayer money into, diverting 911 calls to appropriate support agencies consistent with the General Assembly's legislative mandated study findings. I want to see a social worker respond to the 6'6", 300-pound naked guy high on meth and control him. I want to see it happen. I want to be there because I've responded to calls like that. Folks, this is not reality. This is a Democratic-led plan to undermine society. That's all this is. Let's see. Of course, they're going to focus on prosecuting cases of police misconduct that resulted in civilian death. What about all the street-level criminals whose actions resulted in death? Oh no, they're just cycled out and released again to reoffend again. But oh no, the police are going to be held to a higher standard. Not that they shouldn't be. But why is the focus on the police and not on the criminal by this person running for attorney general? They're going to seek additional resources. In other words, again, taxpayer funding to hire additional investigators. For what? To investigate the police. Not to investigate the criminals, but to investigate the police. And of course, use the discretion of her office to collaborate with local prosecutors in investigations where appropriate. In other words, investigate the police. This Katie O'Malley is just going to take us on the path of New York. And despite what Joe Biden said yesterday, New York is not an example to follow. Crime is rising so high and fast in New York that they don't know what they're going to do. And people, honest, good, moral, and people filled with integrity are not going into police work because of this right here. And believe you me, you want somebody who's moral and who's filled with integrity in police work. Because it is a job that's fraught with temptations to do wrong. Make no mistake about that either. But this kind of idiocy is just going to encourage the criminal and hinder the police. Make no mistake about it. That's my rant for today. I hope Miss O'Malley is defeated. I hope you people will not vote for this kind of ridiculous stupidity. And that's just one of her issues that she has. Remember the other issues here. Legalize marijuana. Woo! Get everybody high and reduce gun violence. And yeah, murders are up. Why? Because people's hearts are evil. Because this kind of ridiculous platform encourages them to do it. Because you know what the police are going to do? They're going to sit at their desk and they're going to be like, I'm not investigating that. Their job, their career, their family, their future is on the line. Why are they going to risk it all when someone like Ms. O'Malley is standing over them with an axe ready to chop them off? Think about it. We're in dire straits, folks. Dire straits. I hope you wake up.